Hello, everyone. This is Abby Small with MC Dex Discussions, and I wanted to ask for some help here. So I have Magneto, and I want to build a protection deck. I haven't done that with him yet, and I had some thoughts as to some directions that this might go. But I'm not fixed on any particular things, though I think some particular builds are wise in protection for Magneto. So the first thing is, though, some of my thoughts here is I don't want it to count on any specific cards that are outside of his own kit, because with him discarding all those cards, he can't count on anything to come back to his hand, of course, except for White Fox. But he could skip anything else. So that's why I was thinking that repurpose probably isn't a good focus. There's no reason why it couldn't have, some of the technology upgrades in it. Those seem like those could benefit him. And throwing in maybe a repurposed card in case things happen to work out, I could see that happening. But building it to count on repurpose doesn't seem like the wisest move in a deck like this, in particular because of Magneto's ability where he discards cards all the time. But there are some things that I think leaning in on just seem wise, because already he has in his own kit his Magneto's cape, which allows him to ready. And then we also have his armor that, when he uses his magnetic pull ability, it allows him to get +1 thwart, +1 attack, +1 defense. So leaning into that some more with some readies. So that's why I threw in, for example, what doesn't kill me as a possibility there. Now that ends up counting on physical cards, so as a resource. So I did put the X-Jet in as something to count on. But again, I might discard it. So I thought I put build support in there to make it more likely that I could end up picking up the X-Jet to make sure I have the resource. I can count on those resources in order to play what doesn't kill me. The other thing I was thinking about was Taunt. I really like card draw. That's one reason. But also, I think Magneto has some reasons why Taunt might be not as dangerous for him. He has 10 hit points, which isn't the best, but it's not the worst. But I was also thinking, once again, he has some cards that make it so that he could probably handle that some, which would be his metal shards, right? He has 2 of these 3-cost attacks. They deal 7 damage to an enemy, and if it defeats that enemy, gain a tough status card. So, of course, when he uses that, either to defeat one stage of a villain or to defeat a minion, he can get a tough status, and then it's easy to use Taunt. And especially if he protects himself with allies, and I am thinking then, so might want to have a decent number of allies in the deck. There were some allies that I thought would be critical to that type of build then if I am going to use Taunt. So I put those in here. So for example, Nightcrawler is really awesome because Magneto could keep any tough status he needs for long enough to use that Taunt whenever he's using Nightcrawler, because Nightcrawler has this interrupt. When an X-Men character, and Magneto is an X-Men character, would take any amount of damage from an enemy attack, spend an energy resource, and return Nightcrawler to your hand. Prevent all of that damage. So that seemed one of the ideal cards for this. And once again, another reason to include the X-Jet to provide that energy resource when needed. And then I thought North Star would be excellent for that too, right? So he has this interrupt. But when a boost card is turned face up during an attack, you can deal 1 damage to North Star and cancel all the boost icons on that card. So then Magneto could always defend for himself and count on being able to defend, and knowing that, he could ready up. Now if he's going to use what doesn't kill me, though, of course he has to take some damage, right? So there's some things that still, you want to try to strategically do. And then Polaris seemed ideal as well, right? Because after Polaris enters play, give an X-Men character a tough status, which if Magneto doesn't have one, she could give it to him, or, she could put it on herself or another X-Men character. So those were some of the things that I thought would be good to have. I also figured superpower training could be put in here because there are lots of great cards here, including other ones that can help protect him, which are these magnetic bubble cards, which will also give him retaliate. So, and then that's why I threw in Redditor medical aid. When you defeat this player side scheme. Each player heals total 5 damage from among characters they control. So I figured, maybe keeping North Star out longer to be able to take some more of these, to be able to deal damage to himself to protect Magneto further from those attacks. So in any case, that's the gist of what I have. And I did put in the usual energy, genius, and strength cards. I avoided the other ones that you pull. I can't remember what they're called right now. So just like White Fox. Well, White Fox actually comes out into play under your control if you discard it. But the resources that you discard and come into your hand, because Magneto can already end up with some dead hands here and there, I avoided that. Okay. So those are my general thoughts with regard to the deck so far. That leaves plenty of room for other cards, but also I'm not committed to any of this either. Like as the build starts to happen, I might decide maybe Taunt isn't the best thing, or maybe what doesn't kill me doesn't end up making sense. But I think it does overall make sense to lean into that readying Magneto, because he can already gain, be able to gain that extra thwart or extra attack, be doing 3 each time. That can add up pretty quickly. So that's my thoughts there. And whatever thoughts people have, please share them in the comments. And also, if you're kind of liking this build, what would flesh it out more? If there are some things you think, no, actually, maybe we should lean in this way instead. So I'm happy to hear any of those ideas that people have and flesh this out. And of course, I'll do a follow-up video once the deck is built, and then and maybe already play test it, or maybe just after it's built and then play test it. We'll see. But in any case, I'm looking forward to people's feedback. Thanks a lot. Have a good one, everybody. Oh, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy some of this content. And again, I'll talk to people later.